The Formula One grid for 2025 has changed radically. Hamilton at Ferrari, Sainz at Williams, and Perez out. But who will be the most surprising driver of the season? Before I tell you, tell me in the comments, who do you think will have the biggest impact this year? The changes to the Formula One grid for the 2025 season represent one of the biggest shakeups in the championship's recent history. With half the seats modified, several teams have opted for a combination of experience and young talent, which promises to significantly alter the dynamics in the championship fight. Lewis Hamilton staged the biggest surprise by leaving Mercedes after more than a decade and a legacy of multiple world titles to join Ferrari. This decision marks the end of an era and the beginning of a new challenge for the Briton, who will share a team with Charles Leclerc at Maranello. Hamilton's arrival left a seat vacant at Mercedes, and the German team opted to promote Andrea Kimi Antonelli, a young talent from its academy who, at just 18 years old, will make his debut in the top category. Carlos Sainz was one of the main people affected by Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari. With no space at the Scuderia, his future was surrounded by uncertainty for months. Teams such as Sauber, Audi, and Alpine tried to sign him, but he finally decided to join Williams, a growing team that seeks to consolidate itself in the mid-upper part of the grid. At Williams he will be Alex Albon's teammate, forming a duo with experience and ambitions to take the historic team back to the podium. Red Bull opted to make a change in its lineup by dispensing with Sergio Perez, despite the fact that the Mexican had a contract until 2026. The Austrian team decided to bet on Liam Lawson, who had already demonstrated his talent by replacing drivers from the brand in previous races. This move created a chain reaction within the Red Bull driver program, as the seat vacated by Lawson at Racing Bulls, formerly AlphaTauri, was filled by Isaac Hadjar, the 2024 Formula 2 runner-up. Sauber, the team that will become Audi in 2026, also completely revamped its lineup. Nico Hülkenberg left Haas to join the Swiss team with the intention of bringing his experience to the transition to the German brand's project. His teammate will be Gabriel Bortolito, the 2024 Formula 2 champion, who comes to F1 as a future bet for Audi. Haas also decided to make radical changes to its lineup. With the departure of Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, the American team opted for Oliver Bearman, a young British talent who impressed in 2024 by replacing Sainz at Ferrari and Magnussen at Haas for some races. Alongside him is Esteban Ocon, who left Alpine after several years at the French team. Alpine, for its part, found Jack Doohan to replace Ocon. Doohan, who was the team's test driver, made his debut in the last race of 2024 and convinced the team's management to give him a chance as a regular in 2025. He will share a team with Pierre Gasly, who remains in the team. McLaren and Aston Martin were the only teams that kept their lineup unchanged. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri will remain together at McLaren, while Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll will continue at Aston Martin. These teams are betting on continuity and stability to continue developing their cars without interruptions. The 2025 grid not only features changes in the drivers, but has also modified the competitive landscape. With new lineups and the addition of young talents, the season promises to be one of the most unpredictable in recent years. The grid for the 2025 Formula One season is set, and teams have opted for a combination of experience, emerging talent and strategic changes to their lineups. With 10 changes to the starting grid, this season promises to be one of the most unpredictable and full of new rivalries. Ferrari has built one of the strongest duos in the team's recent history. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton will share the garage at Maranello, forming a lineup that mixes youth with experience and that, on paper, has the potential to challenge Red Bull. Hamilton arrives with the aim of returning the title to Ferrari, something they have not achieved since 2007, while Leclerc will seek to consolidate himself as the team leader and prove that he can compete on equal terms with the 7-time world champion. The big question is how Ferrari will handle the dynamic between the two drivers, especially considering Hamilton's history in teams where he has had to share the spotlight. Red Bull is entering a new era with Max Verstappen as its main driver and Liam Lawson as its new teammate. Following the departure of Sergio Perez, the team has opted to give Lawson a chance, who impressed in his performances as a substitute driver. Verstappen will continue to be the team's reference point, but the big question is whether Lawson can quickly adapt to the pace of competition in a team that does not tolerate poor performance. Mercedes faces its first year without Lewis Hamilton in more than a decade. George Russell takes on the role of leader in the team, while Andrea Kimi Antonelli will make his Formula One debut with the German team. The bet on Antonelli is risky due to his young age and lack of experience in the top category, but his career in the lower divisions has been outstanding. Toto Wolff is confident that Antonelli can develop his talent quickly and be part of the team's future in the Audi Red Bull era of 2026. McLaren has decided to maintain continuity in its lineup with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. The British team has seen remarkable growth in recent seasons and believes that stability in its lineup is key to continuing to evolve. Norris is still looking for his first Formula One victory, while Piastri has shown that he has the talent to challenge the best. Aston Martin has also made no changes and continues with Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll. Alonso has renewed his contract until 2026, ensuring his permanence in the team when the new regulations come into force. Stroll, for his part, keeps his seat thanks to his relationship with his father, Lawrence Stroll, owner of the team. The question remains whether Aston Martin will be able to make the definitive leap to regularly fight for victories or whether it will remain a midfield team. Williams has surprised with the signing of Carlos Sainz, who joins the British team after leaving Ferrari. Together with Alex Albon, he will form one of the most balanced duos in terms of experience and talent. The team is looking to consolidate its recovery and aspires to fight more consistently for points positions. The presence of Sainz represents a change of mindset for Williams, which wants to leave behind its role as a team at the bottom of the grid and return to the fight with the mid-table teams. Alpine has opted for a generational change. Pierre Gasly remains with the team, but will now have Jack Doohan as his teammate, who was promoted after serving as a test driver. The French team is confident that Doohan will be able to quickly adapt to the category and become a key piece for the team's future. However, Alpine has been left in an uncertain situation after the departure of Esteban Ocon and the lack of major advances in its technical development. Haas has completely renewed its lineup with the arrival of Oliver Bearman and Esteban Ocon. Bearman, who debuted in 2024 as a substitute driver for Ferrari and Haas, has shown that he has the talent to be in Formula One on a permanent basis. Ocon, for his part, arrives with the intention of bringing experience to a team that needs stability after years of constant changes in its structure. Haas remains a team with limited resources compared to its rivals, so its performance will depend largely on how efficiently it develops its car. Sauber has put together a completely new lineup with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortolito. Hülkenberg, a veteran with years of experience in the category, will be tasked with leading the team in its transition to Audi in 2026. Bortolito, meanwhile, arrives as a Formula 2 champion and represents the team's bet for the future. The combination of an experienced driver with a young talent is a strategy that Sauber hopes will work in the long term. Racing Bull's Red Bull's satellite team will field Yuki Tsunoda and Isaac Hadjar. Tsunoda remains in the team and becomes the most experienced driver in the team, while Hadjar will make his Formula 1 debut after a strong run in Formula 2. Red Bull has shown in the past that it does not hesitate to make quick changes to its junior team if performances are not as expected, so Hadjar will have the pressure to adapt quickly and prove that he deserves his seat in the top category. The 2025 Formula One season features one of the most renewed grids in recent years. With several young prospects making their debut and strategic changes at the top teams, the championship is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable in the modern era. The 2025 Formula One season will mark the arrival of a new generation of drivers in the category. 6 names will join the grid as starters, although only 3 of them will be 100% debutants, without having competed in any previous race. The teams have bet on young talents from Formula 2, in the hope that they can quickly integrate into the demanding level of the highest category of motorsport. Andrea Kimi Antonelli will be the youngest driver on the grid and one of Mercedes' riskiest bets in recent years. At just 18 years old, he joins the German team to fill the seat left by Lewis Hamilton after his departure to Ferrari. His incorporation has generated divided opinions, since although he has a brilliant record in the training categories, he had never been considered the favorite for this immediate promotion. His promotion is a clear sign of the confidence that Toto Wolff and Mercedes have in his long-term development. The Italian driver has been part of Mercedes' Young Talent program since 2019, and his adaptation to Formula One will be key to defining the team's direction in the coming years. Comparisons with George Russell will be inevitable, and the big question will be whether he can withstand the pressure of a team accustomed to fighting for titles. Gabriel Bortolito is another of the names who will debut in Formula One in 2025. The Brazilian arrives on the grid after winning the Formula 2 championship and will join Sauber, a team that will be renamed Audi in 2026. His signing responds to the long-term strategy of the German brand, which sees Bortolito as a driver with the potential to develop within its project. His rise has been remarkably fast, achieving consistent results in the lower categories and standing out as one of the emerging talents in South America. The pressure on him will be significant as he will have to prove he is up to the demands of Formula One in a team looking for stability and results ahead of its transformation into an official Audi factory. Isack Hadjar is the third full rookie of the season and will take up a seat at Racing Bulls, Red Bull's satellite team. The French driver of Algerian origin earned his chance after a standout performance in Formula 2, where he fought for the title until the last race. His move to Formula One is part of Red Bull's strategy to continue developing talent through its young driver program. Hadjar will face the challenge of adapting quickly to the category, with the risk that any poor performance could mean his premature exit, something Red Bull has shown in the past with several drivers. Jack Doohan is not a full rookie, but he will have his first full season in Formula One as a driver for Alpine. In 2024 he contested the final race of the season with the French team, replacing Esteban Ocon at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. His role as a test driver allowed him to gain experience within the team and ultimately secure a seat for 2025. His addition is a bid by Alpine for continuity and internal development, confident that his prior knowledge of the structure will allow him to adapt more quickly than a rookie with no previous experience in the category. Liam Lawson will also begin his first full season in Formula One, although he has already competed in 11 Grands Prix between 2023 and 2024. His promotion to Red Bull is the result of his performance as a substitute at the Austrian brand's satellite team, where he impressed enough to be promoted to the main team. His mission will be to prove that he can be a solid competitor alongside Max Verstappen, although the pressure on him will be immense, as Red Bull has been relentless with drivers who do not meet their expectations. Oliver Bearman will be another of the names who, although he has already had experience in Formula One, will begin his first full season in 2025. In 2024 he competed in 3 races as a substitute driver, representing Ferrari and Haas at critical moments. His performance in those opportunities was enough to convince Haas to give him a full-time seat. His arrival at the American team is part of a bet on a long-term future, seeking to consolidate a driver who has shown great potential from the lower categories. The 2025 season not only represents the arrival of new talent, but also a renewal of the grid that could mark the beginning of a new era in Formula One. Teams have bet on young drivers in the hope that they can become the future stars of the sport. However, the challenge of adapting to the top category will not be easy, and the performance of these rookies will be key to defining their long-term careers. The 2025 Formula One season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable and revolutionary in recent years. With half the grid changing teams and the addition of young talents, each race will be a stage for adjustments, strategies and fights to establish themselves in the category. The most striking move is the arrival of Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. His experience, combined with the talent of Charles Leclerc, can make the Italian team Red Bull's main rival. However, the big question is how the team will manage the dynamic between the two drivers, something that has been a challenge for Ferrari in the past. Red Bull has decided to bet on the future with the promotion of Liam Lawson, who will accompany Max Verstappen. This change opens a new stage for the Austrian team, which will seek to maintain its dominance with a renewed lineup. Meanwhile, Mercedes faces its first season without Hamilton in more than a decade and places its trust in George Russell and the rookie Andrea Kimi Antonelli, a young talent who will have the difficult task of proving that he is ready to compete at the highest level. Williams has made a strategic signing with the arrival of Carlos Sainz, who will seek to lead the team and show that he can make a difference. McLaren and Aston Martin have opted for continuity, trusting that stability will allow them to continue evolving. The rest of the grid is marked by the arrival of new drivers who represent the future of Formula One. Jack Doohan at Alpine, Oliver Bearman at Haas, Gabriel Bortolito at Sauber and Isack Hadjar at Racing Bulls are some of the bets that can surprise and redefine the competition landscape. With this scenario, the 2025 season will be a key year in the evolution of the championship. The arrival of young talents and strategic changes in the teams can alter the dominance that Red Bull has exercised in recent years. The fight for the championship will be more intense than ever, and each team will seek to maximize its opportunities on the track. Now that you know all the changes and the impact they will have on the season, the question is clear. Who do you think will be the big revelation of 2025? Which team will best adapt to its new lineup? Share your opinion in the comments and stay tuned for everything that comes in this new era of Formula One.